Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited to be painting with you. We are going to be doing a really fun project for Earth Day. Today is Earth Day 2017, and I got together with a couple of my YouTube artist friends, Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa. We do these Angelooney get-together paint-alongs, paint-ins about once a month, and we invited Stephanie Kilgast to be our guest artist for this one. She does amazing clay pieces, so I've got the links to both of their jungle themed collaboration projects for their down in the description, so be sure to check those out after the show. I decided to do a toucan. I've always wanted to do these. They're like one of my favorite birds, so colorful. This one is called a rainbow or keel that's hard to say, Keel Billed Toucan. So we're going to be painting him today. I've got my husband Mark with me here.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to be manning chats while we're live, so if you've got any questions, he will try to get those to me when I have a break. I've got a rainbow of colors for our rainbow toucan. This is burnt umber, burnt sienna, phthalo blue, green shade, teal. This can be mixed. Phthalo green, brilliant yellow green. This could also be mixed. Yellow, cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium orange, cadmium red light, Pyrrole red, or you could use cadmium red medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, and Carbon Black. And I put the Ultramarine Blue over here by the Quinacridone just so I could remember it's the more purple of the two blues that we'll be using. And this one, the teal, can be mixed with these two colors, the Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Green, plus a little bit of white. This one could be mixed with these two colors plus a little bit of white. So I'm just using them because I'm going to be using a lot of those colors, and it'll just be faster to do it. But you can use whatever colors you've got. Don't feel like you have to use exactly the same ones as me. And I've got a variety of brushes that we'll be using. I'm going to start out with my number 10 Bright Princeton, and we will do the background on my prepared board here. This comes pre-gessoed. It is a 9 by 12 inch panel board, and I've got a link down in the description for this particular product, so you can go find it there. I'm going to start out with a little bit of white, grab a little bit of my green, and here I'll put my photo up in the corner so you can see. It just has the toucan. I added the flowers because it needed some more color, I thought. So I'm just going to, I'm not really mixing these a whole lot. I'm just going to kind of slap them on in kind of haphazard brush stroke motions. And as I get away from that center area, I'm going to add a little bit more of that bright green, and it'll darken it as I go around to the corners. Still going to keep it fairly light because we're going to do some greenery on top of it, so we want that to show through, but some of the areas will be a little bit darker, so we'll do lighter greenery on those areas, and then some areas will be really dark. I'm going to spray my plate here. Grabbing some phthalo green now, just mixing that in, and I'm working with it wet, so just kind of work quickly and don't worry too much about any individual brush strokes. Just kind of let it be expressive. That looks like lime green. Look at that on the camera. It is not that. For some reason my camera is wanting to make these greens like neon, so sorry about that. These aren't quite as neon as it makes it look like. Grabbing some teal here, mixing out with the phthalo green. Yeah. We keep saying we're going to get our camera. We are researching like crazy, trying to figure out what camera to get. It's going to be a big purchase, so we want to buy just the exact right one, and it's taking forever because neither Mark nor I are very big camera experts, even though that's my job. I guess I should know that. I just kind of plug it in and go. Don't worry too much about the apertures and all that kind of thing. But we're realizing that my camera that I've been using for a while is not really the best for capturing color and lighting conditions that we've got going on. So just grabbing a variety of greens here. You can kind of see I'm just kind of tapping in and picking up different colors, and I'm not over blending this. There's a lot of, it's just one big green mess, isn't it? Unbelievable. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of subtlety going on here. You just can't tell on the camera, obviously. We tried messing with it before the show, but I forgot that the greens, something about green, my camera does not like, and it wants to turn it all just one big bright shade of green. So I forgot about that. Probably ought to have checked that before, although I'm really not sure exactly how I would fix it. So I don't know. I say that I should have checked it, but I probably would have made it worse. Okay, so that's good there. We've got a few different colors on there. I'm going to put a few little random bits of this darker stuff sort of happening in this light area. Okay. Let me see if I can do my greenery on top. I'm going to see if I can get this in here while it's wet. It may start to lift. If it does, we'll just have to let Mark dry it for us. He's ready. He's on standby over here for blow dryer duties.
You know me. I'm always ready for that.
You know what he's doing over there. He's not paying attention.
I was going to say I took my shirt off to get ready, but which technically I did, but I have a t-shirt on underneath. So
why did they have to know that?
You were accusing me of not paying attention.
You're not going to be on camera at all. Could be in your PJs for all we know.
And that's a good thing.
Okay, I'm using a filbert now. I've switched over to a filbert, and this is my number 6 filbert from the Princeton line. And I just got in. I ordered all of the brushes that were on my brush guys list because I figured, I knew I liked the Princeton, but I didn't have all of the exact same ones that I had recommended. So I wanted to be able to test all of them, and I absolutely love this filbert. Filberts generally have not been my favorite brushes to use over the years. I just have not found them. I guess I haven't found the right one because these ones are really great. Okay, I'm going to do a large leaf kind of coming off here. These ones were just kind of held at the tip and just kind of dragged through, and it's kind of picking up some of the wet paint, so it's working out pretty well. What are you laughing about over there?
People in chat are chanting, "Put it on, put it on."
Put it on your shirt? That's awesome. Okay, so his head's going to be right here. But I do want some fern-like thing coming in, kind of pointing towards it. So I'm going to just do that, and then I'm going to do some leaf strokes. I'm just sort of setting the filbert down, kind of does all the work for you. You kind of set it down at an angle and just pull it towards the middle of that thing here. Our greenery is very, very kind of impressionist in the background here, so we don't have to go into a whole lot of detail with it. It's just kind of to add a little bit of interest, kind of setting in the background here. So don't feel like you have to get every single one of these leaves just perfect. Just kind of hinting at some jungle foliage happening behind our bird. And this is teal with a little bit of phthalo blue in it, but not much. It's mostly just teal.
So we got Miss Cinnamon has joined us in the chat.
Cinnamon. Cinnamon went on early this morning, 10:30. well, early for, she usually goes on a little bit later. She had stuff going on. She painted a hibiscus and a really adorable little hummingbird with it. So cute. Loved it. And I actually got to watch her show for a change. It was really fun. Okay, so over here, I'm going to do kind of more of a green one. And I'm sorry again, this is so blown out. It's looking like all the same color, but I'm going to use Phthalo Green with a little bit of white. And we'll do a nice big one coming up this way. Bigger leaves this time. So I'm kind of setting my brush, instead of setting it at an angle, I'm just setting it flat and kind of pulling towards the stem. There we go. Oh my goodness, you can't even see that. I'm so bummed. Is it looking overblown on your thing too? Looks like it on my monitor.
It is pretty bright there. Let me check on my phone here real quick.
Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to grab some teal here, maybe a little bit of that blue, Phthalo Blue, just to brighten it up just slightly. And I'm going to add a few little teal leaves. These are just little flicks. You don't overthink it. Just kind of flick up. As long as you hold your brush at an angle and you've got it pressed flat, it'll kind of do these little leaf things for you. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Let's do one more like light colored one. A couple light colored ones. Which you're just gonna have to take my word for it, because it'll all look the same to you probably. Grab some more of that bright, brilliant lime green, or brilliant, let me see, what is it called? Brilliant yellow green. And a little bit of white. And we'll do one over here. Okay, now we've got these darker colors underneath, so you can kind of see that happening there, or maybe not. We'll do a little bit, one right here. And I'm kind of pointing all of these in towards the toucan strategically, so it's going to draw your eye in toward the middle. So they're all kind of angling in towards where the bird's going to be. That's deliberate choice there, I think. It's looking pretty good. I feel like that one's adding a little bit darker on top of that. Oh my goodness, I'm so mad at my camera. It's not even funny. Okay, let's do one more kind of right behind his head. Well, I kind of covered up most of. Now, we'll leave it. I think that that's good enough. We'll call that good. I'm going to clean out this really well. And this is drying pretty fast, so I'm going to go ahead and put in my flowers too. I just need to clean my brush out really well. I may have you clean my water out after I get done with these flowers, hun. That's better. Good job, honey. Mark just changed my lighting. It's a little bit darker, but it's, I think it's better for the greens at least. Good job, honey.
I'm good for more than just drying.
Okay, let me turn this around so you can see what I'm doing on this side here. Spray my thing one more time. I'm trying this on a paper plate that's coated this time. So this is the first time I've tried it on this particular plate. So I'm hoping that it doesn't dry out my paints too quickly, but it seems like it's working okay. I figured since we're doing Earth Day, we better be a little bit more earth savvy, earth conscious than our regular foam plates. didn't want to have anybody getting mad at me for using my foam plates. Though I do save them, so technically they're not being thrown away. So I have plans for them. Okay, I think I'm going to angle this one a little bit. In my original, I kind of made it straight up and down, but I think I want it slightly angled. So I think I'm going to do that instead. These are actually this is Quinacridone Magenta, by the way. Got to leave a little bit of room over here for my petals to happen. I'm doing a midline, and I have added white to it so that'll show up against this green. So I've got white. It's pretty loaded, pretty thick. You kind of notice it's all globbed on there. That'll help with these big petals because we want a lot of variegation in them. So I'm going to start out at the top and just kind of do just like what we did with these leaf strokes, only I'm going to pack them really tight and overlap them a little bit. So I'm going to grab some of the darker here on one side and pull through the lighter on the other side. So I've got a little bit of both here. And I'm using the edge of my brush. There we go. Now we're getting some. There we go. As I get down toward the middle, I'm going to do them a little bit. See how I'm doing? Do them a little bit bigger. And I'm always kind of doing one in the middle to kind of cover up the stem. And I might need to go back in with some white and brighten those up a little bit, but ooh, there's a lot of paint on there. All came off in one little thing there. This is I think it's a ginger. I looked it up because I was looking up tropical plants, and I found this photograph that had this plant and the orange one that I'll be putting in together. Didn't have the toucan with it, but I really liked these colors and thought it would work well with the toucan. And then I realized that this plant's actually kind of native to the South Pacific jungles, and the toucan's more from Central America. So this may or may not be an accurate botanical representation. Maybe he's at a zoo. I don't know. So just saying. Those botanists among you, please don't be offended. It's art. I'm taking my artistic license here, artistic privilege, whatever.
Uh-oh, we got the leader of that underground painting society with
hi,
us.
Nathan.
So be careful what you say or do.
Okay.
Let's just stop painting for a while. Maybe they'll go away.
Nathan's my son, my oldest. He ditched us to move out a couple of years ago. I've still not forgiven him yet. No, I'm joking. We're glad he's on his own. He's having fun.
We're glad he's out.
No,
we're glad
not.
he is so gone.
All right, I'm going to do... I miss him. It's kind of sad thing about being a mom. You hope you raise them well enough to move out, and then when they do, you're kind of sad about it. Okay, so I'm going to do this angle here for the branch, and it's fairly thick, the branch that he's sitting on. If you look at the photograph up there, it's fairly thick, so I'm going to go ahead and you can dry your background and draw this on if you're worried about the exact placement of this, but I think we're just going to kind of go from, I don't know, if you measured it, it's probably at the quarter mark. If there's the half again. So we're starting at the quarter mark and the half mark and going up to about the third on this side. And I'm just going to fill it in. I added a little bit of white to my burnt umber just for my first coat here. Adding the white will help it cover the green a little bit better and won't, if I went straight in with the burnt umber, it might look almost black against that green. So it's just helping to cover, and then we'll come back in and add some. Here, I've got some of the burnt umber on my brush here. I'm just very lightly gonna drag it through that wet paint. I think that's good. Might make it a little bit thicker on this side. So yeah, we are really happy to have you guys all join us. If you are new to my channel, welcome. We're really excited to have you watching with us today. We are we paint twice a week live, and or at least right now we do. If after the show, if you want to check out my other videos, I've got all kinds of different ones for beginners and intermediate, some not even using brushes. So just all kinds of different fun types of painting tutorials, trying to make learning to paint easy and enjoyable. Give you a few tips that I've learned in my 30 years of painting to help make it easier for you. And we love our online community. So much fun. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and subscribe. We would love that.
What about traceables?
Oh yeah, we have traceables too. Let me have you dry this, honey, if you don't mind.
Where do I find traceable?
Okay. Well, actually, yeah, I need you to dry this. Well, I'm talking about traceables. I will have you dry that. We have a new account on Patreon. So the link to that is down in the description as well. And we have all our traceables from February 2017 on are in my Patreon group. So if you've seen any of my videos from the last couple months, you can receive the traceables for $1 a month for all the traceables. So it's a really good deal. And we have other different groups and bonuses. We'll be doing a bonus video. We're going to be painting a sea turtle for our bonus video this month for my Patreon folks too. So anyhow, you can check that out if you want to down in the description. What else was I going to say about that? I don't know. You good?
How much drying do you want me to do?
Just dry it enough that I can do the greenery in the background.
How's that? The tree's so good.
Yeah, that's fine. I just need to be able to sketch on my bird. My branch is still a little bit wet. What?
I'm going to have to go catch a sea turtle now.
So I can paint it? Yeah. So if you... Sorry, honey. I didn't tell you that, did I?
No, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, that's going to be hard.
A lot harder than the rooster.
Roosters are mean, though. I think the sea turtles would be a breeze compared to the rooster. They don't bite or they don't claw you.
I'll just go to an aquarium.
Okay. Don't listen to him. We don't actually capture them. Jeez. You get me in trouble. Okay, I'm using regular chalk here, and I am trying to map out where I want my toucan. Actually, the head is right smack dab in the middle, right on the upper. Let me see if this is our halfway mark, and there's our quarter mark, right? The eye is like right smack dab on that quarter, and just off center. So there's my half, there's my quarter mark. If I come into the center, there's the middle, and come this way, there's going to be my eye right there. And then I can kind of base the rest of the head around that. The head's kind of a circle here. And then the breast comes in and back around, curves back down towards the branch pretty sharply. I'll use chalk because it erases really easily if I kind of want to adjust my line. Makes it really easy to do that. And actually I want to bring it up just a little bit more right there. Okay, then the beak is coming inside. It cuts off part of that circle there for the head and curves down to about the third mark. So if you find your thirds here, this is how I usually do my canvases. So if you're new to this, I just try to make it, find your reference points just so that you can make it easy. But I do, like I said, I will have the traceable for this. If you don't like to draw, that is totally understandable, and don't feel like you have to draw to be able to paint. You can totally use the traceable, or you can even print off a photograph of the toucan. I got that one off of Pixabay, and just trace it straight from there, or trace the design off of the computer screen. I don't have a problem with that either, so don't feel like you have to buy the traceable. Not. Okay, so there's that line. I feel like it's about right. Just this long curved, it's a little bit more narrow here. This is a little bit wider. It curves up right here. This line almost goes straight across and down just a little bit right there. And then there's a little bit of the beak showing underneath too, right here, under his chin. Okay. And then right about where this beak ends, there's another line. Actually, let me see. This needs to come in a little bit more because the eye is a little bit higher up. It cuts off this line here. And then there's the black right there. Okay, sorry, just adjusting a little bit. There's a wing. Curves like that. Don't want to take too much time drawing this, but it's important to take your time and get it accurate. So, and then there's this breast place. So all of this is yellow. This kind of curves down toward the back a little bit right there. This is actually a small little shoulder and a large chest area. Okay, I think, oh, you can't see any of this, can you? Sorry, honey.
That's okay.
Should have said
I
something.
was debating. I didn't want to interrupt you because you were just on a roll explaining it. So.
Well, sorry guys, you can't see any of that. All right, let's do it over with the blue chalk now that I have it done. There's the eye, right? This is what we started with. The top of the head comes around. There's two lines here and here. The wing curves up and back, and it actually curves this way in front. Then this curves up and in. The beak curves around like that. This kind of comes straight down almost. Get close to that eye. And then there's another line right there. I think that's all of it. It's pretty easy drawing. Just a few curved lines. Just kind of take your time with it. And the nice thing about the chalk is that you can erase it. So if you make a boo-boo, you can just go back in and fix it. All right, I'm going to switch to my smaller filbert. Can I get you to clean my water out there, honey?
Sure.
It's kind of muddied.
Okay,
It'll help.
I'll do it.
So I'm going to grab some white here and some cadmium yellow medium to start with. I'm going to go ahead and put in his breast first because it's going to take several coats. Adding the white will help make the paint more opaque. You could do a coat of white first and then go over it with the yellow too. I kind of like to save time and just do it with the yellow and then add other colors on top. So this is actually more like that. There we go. doing my brush strokes kind of in the direction that the feathers lay. And all the way up to the eye there. Just going to go over the top of it for now. Okay. I'm going to grab some teal, mix that with that yellow. I'm going to use quite a lot of white because I want it to be a nice light, very light blue-green color. I'm going to use that to fill in the beak.
So we had a question earlier, and somebody wanted to know, what is your favorite detail brush?
How small? Because I really like the number 4 round. It's kind of a, well, it'd be different. It's about a 1/4 inch round brush. It's, you know, depending on the brand that you're using. It might not be the number 4 particularly, but because they all kind of have their own sizing. But that one I really like because it allows me to do fine lines or thicker lines, you know, depending on how hard I press down with it. So it's, let me show you if I can find it in here. About this size right here. Now if I'm looking for a really, really fine line, I can go to a like liner brush or 2/0 number 2 round or something like that. These ones about half the size. And then, you know, they have even finer ones, little bitty detail ones with little teeny tiny details. So it just kind of depends. I use whatever one that sort of fits the area that I'm working in. I'm gonna grab my number, this is a number 2, it's about a 1/4 inch flat, right? And I'm going to work in some red into the beak. So I'm going to grab some white again with my Pyrrole Red, and I've got that blue in there. I didn't bring it all the way to the tip because I wanted to use the red here. So I'm just going to use the edge of it to draw in my beak. We'll put more vibrant colors on top, but we're laying the background in here because we need these more opaque white toned colors, these pastel colors, or white if we wanted to use it underneath. And this red goes pretty far up, so I'm just going to tap it in. It'll blend a little bit with that blue, but that's fine. Mainly just concerned right now with getting a opaque undercoat on there that's kind of in the tones that we're looking for. Cleaning that out. Grab a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta. It's definitely drying out pretty fast on my paint plate. Slide a little bit of white in it. And I'm going to do my center line for my beak, and it actually is fairly low. There's a lot more up at the top than the bottom, and I'm going to turn this so I can see where I'm pointing this. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. And come in right here, angle it all the way to the tip. Picked up a little bit of the paint, but that's all right. I'll just give me my center line to work with. While I've got this little brush in here, I'm going to grab some black and we'll start putting in his feathers. I'm going to do black up here, and there are actually some red, so I'm going to grab some burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of Pyrrole Red. Having all of that in my brush here, and I'm just going to brush. Feathers at the top of his head right here. It curves around. Adding that red, the little bit of red will kind of brown it out a little bit, make it not quite so black, solid black. Sort of stick straight up at the top here, so I'm just going to kind of use the angle of my brush and sort of tap along that edge to give it a little bit of fuzziness, and then as it comes around it kind of starts to angle down this way. What are you laughing at over there, hun?
I wasn't laughing.
You weren't?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
No.
Oh, you were maybe sniffling. Close enough. Okay. I'm going to grab one of my larger brushes again. We'll get that kind of medium filbert. I'm telling you, if you get a good brush, it does half the work for you. I've been so pleased. I really haven't used my larger filberts a whole lot because I've never really invested in a good one, and now I'm seeing that these are going to be one of my more go-to brushes. I can tell already because I really love the way they work. I've grabbed the blue and a little bit of ultramarine blue and a little bit of that black. So this part of his feathers are going to have a little bit of a blue cast. And these back feathers are fairly smooth. So I'm going to bring it down here. Yeah, one of my, Susan Clark, one of my longtime viewers, she sent me a photograph of herself with this particular kind of toucan. She'd taken a picture, and it was little bitty. It fit in her hand. It was so cute. I didn't know they were so small. Yeah, so cute. So, and I looked it up. These are not endangered, so that's good. No toucans were harmed in the filming of this video.
Somebody wants to know what the toucan's name is.
It's the Keel Billed Toucan, or the Rainbow Toucan. It had one other name, and I can't remember, but I kind of got stuck on the rainbow one. That's my favorite name for it, so that's what I'm calling it. Rainbow Billed Toucan.
It's not Sam?
Sam, no, not Sam.
Okay.
Nope, there was a different kind. They have, like, I don't know, they have different coloring. I liked the coloring on this one. It was just really pretty. Okay, so as I'm going around next to this yellow, I'm going to kind of start doing my brush strokes a little bit choppier so that they, just tapping them in a little bit so that they have a little bit more fuzziness next to that yellow paint. It'll just give it a little bit more of a feathery texture. And then we'll bring it down like this. There's some red in between, so I'm going to leave room for that. This side has some featheriness, so I'm Just use the edge of my brush and sort of draw that out. Bring that up just a little bit right there. Leaving just a little bit of space for that red to go in there. Even though this is solid black, I'm still using the brush strokes to indicate the direction that these feathers are laying. That will really help the overall look, because if a little bit of that green pot peeks through from the backside, if it's a little bit transparent in places, it will help. Okay, there we go. Put a little bit of this darker color right there. All right, now I'm going to grab a little bit of white and a little bit of the blue and make kind of a light gray color. Whoops, you can't see that, can you? Sorry. So, not too light because I don't want it to overwhelm these feathers, but I'm going to just lay in a little bit more blue. Lay in a little bit of gray feathers on the wing part. It'll just help it pop out from the rest. Mostly up at the top. And this is starting to dry, so it's getting sticky. So I'm just going to wait and do that again later. I don't want to lift my paint off. He's looking good. Clean that out. Let's grab my smaller brush again. It takes a while to get these clean. You really want to make sure you get it nice and clean.
I just cleaned that water too.
I know, it's gray again.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Sorry, honey. I may have to have you do it again. Well, I've got some clean water over on the side, so I'll dip into that when I need to. And put a little bit more of that bright green down. Okay, let's grab some Phthalo Blue and cut it with a little bit of white, or in this case I'm just going to grab a little bit of that teal that's next to it. I'll wipe most of it off. I'm going to use a little bit of it underneath the bill here. There's like a shadow that runs under there, and I'm going to grab the bill color, that light blue that we used, and I'm going to mix those two together and kind of blend them together where they transition. And just pull that color up a little bit. The bill should be dry by now, so you don't want to do this if it was wet, but there you go. Grab a little bit of glazing medium, might help my paints flow a little bit better. This is the Liquitex acrylic glazing, I'm sorry, not Liquitex Golden, acrylic glazing liquid satin.
A bit of a rewind. What do you remember what brush you used to do the black?
Yeah, it was the filbert. It was a little bit smaller filbert.
Okay, excellent. And another question.
Yeah.
Do we know if that branch is native to Central America, or is that another one of those?
No, it should
Pacific?
It should be, because it's in the photograph with the toucan.
Okay,
so
I just want to make sure.
I just added the flowers from a different photograph that I found, and then realized that they weren't probably part of this scene.
All right, just trying to keep things as good as possible here.
Okay, I've mixed up a light purple with, I still had those other colors on my brush, so it's not perfectly clean. I grabbed a little bit of Ultramarine Blue and a tiny bit of Quinacridone Magenta and some of my glazing medium. And I'm going to go right along that lip line of the toucan and add a little bit of this purpley color right there. There's like a purple color. Okay, this is definitely not dry. It's dry. This is still not dry. So it's picking up my paint. Funny. Okay. Yeah, I'll work on this yellow here. All right, now that the yellow is dry, I'm going to grab my really bright yellow. That's the Cadmium Yellow Light. It's a little bit more greenish yellow, and I'm going to lay that on. And that will really pop against that lighter yellow, the cadmium that we put down with the white. And I've got my bright here that I'm using. Up underneath here. And then right up under his chin, I'm going to grab some burnt sienna and pull some of that down. Turn my brush on its side and just kind of tap in some light brown. It's going to look really weird right now, but it'll work once we get the rest of the bird in, so don't freak out too much. Grab a little bit more of the yellow and just blend those together a little bit where they meet. There we go. Clean that out because I don't want any of that brown in there. I'm going to grab some of this green, a tiny bit of phthalo to make it a little bit brighter. This is that brilliant green, brilliant yellow green. Can be mixed with the Cad Yellow Light and green, so don't just pre-mix a little bit of it if you want to. I'm going to put this in this eye area here. It's going to have this green color that kind of floats around the eye and then blends down into the yellow. So I'm going to start grabbing that yellow and blend while it's wet into that green. Try to stay away from this area here. I'm just going to tap in. If it's drying on you, wipe your brush good. Well, pick up some glazing medium, a little bit more of that yellow, a little bit more of the white. And we can use those together. The glazing medium will just give you a little bit longer drying time, a little bit more time to blend these together. It's just got a little neon green around the eye. And clean that out again. Want to get all that green out of there. Grab some white. Do some white right here. Just tapping. Small brush strokes give it a little bit of highlight. Grab a little bit of the yellow, Cad Yellow Light. Use the edge and go over that transition area, soften that white and blend it in. So you notice every time I introduce a new color, I'm just put it down, and then while it's wet, I'll grab the undercolor, whatever color, in this case it was the Cadmium Yellow Light, and blend those two together where they mixed or where you want them to meet. So grabbing a little bit more white, we'll do a little bit of really bright white right here on his breast. Okay, I think we're pretty good. I grab a little bit of the cadmium yellow. Do a little bit of that over here underneath his chin, just to blend that together. It's kind of going from the yellow, from the orangey yellow of the cadmium yellow medium to the brighter green yellow of the cadmium yellow light. It's kind of a lemon yellow too, so if you have lemon yellow, you can use that instead. All right, so I think he's good. See how he's looking there? Let's clean that out. We'll grab a little bit of red and put it down in his little breast area. And grab some red. I'm going to grab a little bit of that white red mixture that we had before. I'll use a little bit of that. I'll use the edge of my brush and tap in this red that kind of blends back over the yellow and the black. If I use the edge of my brush, it kind of gives me these little fine, sort of feathery looking. Let me zoom in. Yeah, it's okay. I'll be good. I'll stay in camera, I promise. I'll try to at least. There we go. Using that bright white added red it'll be a little bit too light right now, but we'll add a little bit more later. I'm going to use the red and add just a little bit of red highlights just up here, maybe just a tiny bit at the top of his head. Grab my black and blend over that a little bit. Okay. Very subtle, but you make a difference. Okay, let's do the eye, and that was phthalo green and white. So grab some phthalo green and white. And then a little bit of the phthalo blue, which we're making kind of the teal color, but it's a little bit a lighter version of the teal. So I could have just added white to my teal, but I didn't. Okay, and this circle is going all the way up to the top of where that white, where the yellow meets the black up there. And it's going to fit in this section right here between the bottom of the beak and there. So it's right, actually I think it's a little closer to the beak. Well, no, it's not, because I've got that black coming. I've got to put the black in right here. So now we're good. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. This is normal. So if you're new to my channel, sorry, I talk to myself a lot. Kind of forget that I've got people listening. Just chat my way through. Okay, I've got a little bit of white. I'm just adding the white to the top there to brighten up that section there. Looks good. Let me put this black in before I forget. We'll tap in black right here. It does a little bit of a dip right here where the mouth opening is, and then it curves back in slightly. So there's a little bit of a point right there. Okay. How are we doing on time? We're about an hour. It's not too much more. Maybe about another half hour or so. We'll see. I'm just trying not to get too fussy with the beak. So there's a little bit of black that comes down at a diagonal here. Bring it to a good point right there, and then fill in this little triangle underneath here. There we go. That makes sense. I'm going to grab some white, mix that, so make kind of a gray color. Well, it will make a gray color, not kind of like one. It will make a gray, for sure. And I'm going to go along the bottom of that to separate those two. And then do another line kind of right there too. And then continue that gray color a little bit along that bottom of the beak. Maybe pick up a little bit more just white. And use brighter white right there to outline that section. Okay, that'll make a big difference and make this beak, part of the beak recede, just having that little white line separating them. It'll be like, oh, okay, that part's behind. Weird. One little line. I'm going to clean that out, and I'm going to grab the white again. Dip into some nice clean white if I can. And I'm going to outline the top of the beak with the white. When I get to the red, I'll stop, but I just want that top of the beak to be nice and bright. I'm just using the edge of my brush. I find that it's easier to do a line with a flat brush. It sounds weird, but having it set on its edge, as long as you press it to a good flat chisel point, something about that edge of the brush gives you a little bit more control than if you were trying to use a small fine liner brush like this and do a line. I don't know. At least I find it easier. It probably depends on what you prefer. If you're used to using a liner brush, you might not find it as easy. I'm going to use a little bit of this beak color, a little bit of white. And I'm going to go right up underneath the smile line or frown line or whatever there and put a little bit of a highlight right there. And actually, I looked at the pictures of this, some other pictures of these guys, and they have these like razor edged jagged thing going on their beak. In my photograph, you can't tell as much, but there is like this little kind of jaggedy line. They have kind of a serrated edge on their beak. I'm not sure, it's not very sharp because it's just nail, but they look pretty fierce. It's a pretty badass bird. You don't want to mess with them. I'm sure it would hurt pretty hard if he bit you. Okay, I've got a little bit of white that I've mixed into my orange here. This is cadmium orange. I'm going to just line out about halfway up the beak here. Go about halfway up, and then I'm going to just pull it along the beak. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying a bad word there. I'm probably going to get a content ID strike or something. That's not that bad, right? Sorry, kids, if you're watching. Don't say that word.
Don't say toucan.
Right. Okay, so about right there. It actually kind of continues all the way down into this part with the line. And then I'm going to grab some of the cadmium yellow and mix those two together. Cadmium yellow medium. That's the more orange of the two. I'm going to use that above and just blend some of that in above into This is going to take a couple of layers to get it the brightness that we want. Let's start with that. And now that I'm looking at the red, I realize I need to bring it up a lot farther than I did. But I think I'm going to grab some of the Phthalo Green, mix a little bit of white with it. This is that color. What?
I tried to let somebody know what you said in chat, and I got blocked.
Yeah, I do have that word blocked. I can say it, but you can't. There's a little bit of green down here. There's a little bit of green up in here. Just dry brushing over the beak here. This is still not wanting to dry down there. It's acting weird. Okay, so let's grab some Cadmium Yellow Light and mix that with that green that I've got on my brush, and I'm going to use it up here and just add some streaks. Dry brushing here again. Have very, very little paint on my brush, just lightly tapping. And I've got the blue underneath, so it's showing through and it's changing the color a little bit. And put a little bit down here too, just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to grab that bright red, Pyrrole Red. Now I can go over here and see how bright that'll be. Now that it's going over that light color. A little bit more paint water on my palette there to keep my paints from drying out. I'll just spray it with water. Okay, so right about here, actually this red's going to come all the way up to here, so I definitely didn't put it up high enough. Use the edge there to draw some streaks. There we go. There, and then under here. I got this part right. I'm going to use some Quinacridone. Tiny bit of white in it. This is the magenta color. Use that down in here. Add a little bit of that magenta. I'm going to use a little bit on this beak at the tip. I'm actually finding that angle is too steep. I want to bring that beak up a little bit up here. Just going to adjust that a little bit. Get a little bit broader right there. Okay, I'm happier. Grab some orange. Do a little bit of orange at the top there for a little highlight. A little bit orange in the middle. A little bit more orange here. I think I angled that down a little bit too much, but oh well. I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of black with my Quinacridone. Actually, I'll make it purple. I'll make a purple with the Ultramarine Blue and Quinacridone here. press that flat. I'm going to use that to draw my beak just underneath that orange, or right by where I've done the orange. I'm just going to tap in very light line with this. Go right over the top of that. There we go. Down a little bit more right here. Grab my teal, a little bit of white. Teal and white here. I'm just going to clean up that edge just a little bit. Okay.
You using a 1/4 inch flat?
This, yes, a bright.
Bright.
Bright. Put another coat of this teal on here. It's a little bit darker in the middle, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of a darker circle in the middle. Leave a little rim. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of Phthalo Green. Mix that. That was the teal, so I'm just going to use this. Actually, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush now. I'm going to grab this 2/0. I'm going to use that color. So it's a Phthalo Green and teal mixture, and I'm going to outline the bottom of the eye with that. About halfway. Just the bottom. I'm going to grab some Phthalo Blue, mix that with the teal. I want it fairly dark though, so, and I'm going to outline that circle that I just did with this. Okay. And let's use that to fill in with the black. Fill in a circle. Their black, leave a little bit of space between those circles. Turn it. I find that it's easier to do small details if I turn the brush or turn my palette in the direction that my brush strokes are going. So just like if I'm holding it kind of like a pencil, so just like when you're writing, it's easier, it'd be hard to write in this direction. It's hard to paint in that direction if you're used to writing right-handed. So tilting your painting in that direction will help you. Add some really bright, dark little section right there. Okay, he looks a little creepy right now. A little creepy eye. It's all right. It's normal. I'm going to grab a little bit of white. I'm just going to highlight a little bit. Maybe we'll see how this goes. I'm going to add a little water to it so it's sort of semi-transparent. I'm going to highlight the top of the eye just above that black, just to give it a little bit of brightness. This is where you can kind of clean up if you made any boo-boos on your black circle. And kind of clean it up a little bit if you want to. Okay, looking good. We'll let that set for a minute and dry before we put the highlights in the eye. It'll look a whole lot better when he gets his little highlights. Alright, I'm going to grab some of this Phthalo Blue Teal mixture. Maybe grab a little bit of black. And we'll use that in his feathers up here. Give those a little bit brighter highlights. They're still black, but that little bit of blue in there will just kind of help give it a little bit of a sheen. And they actually do have blue feathers, like a blue, you know how the birds have these kind of iridescent looking feathers. These toucans have iridescent blue on this section, and then they have like this iridescent red on the top. So they're a really beautiful bird. Grab my bright red now. I'm just going to do another section of that bright red. That'll really pop that out on his breast there. And let's go ahead and put a little bit in his beak too while we've got it dry. Now we got that bright red. I'm going to grab my medium filbert. It's about a 1/2 inch, I guess, maybe 3/8 inch. Filbert number 4. I'm going to use that to finish these greenery here and put some. Oh, I guess he needs his feet first. Let me do that. Guess that would help. Well, oh yeah, thank you. Actually, I'm going to do the branch first, and then we'll do the feet. Okay, so I'm going to grab the burnt umber, little tiny bit of white, and maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, just to give it a little bit warmer tone. Burnt sienna's got a little bit more orangey color. We'll just use that very lightly, dry brush, some highlights along the top of that log. If I just barely skim it, it'll kind of catch a little bit on the log and create these streaks. And go back in with a little bit more white. Do some really bright ones right up along the very top here. Barely touching, I'm really just kind of tapping and dragging slightly. Lightest pressure. Okay. Get it too dark in an area, you just grab a little bit more of your dark brown and just go over the top, blend it in. But I'm gonna use this dark brown. This is straight burnt umber. I'm gonna go under the underside now with this. Do a nice dark shadow area. This will make your log look rounded, having a bright side and a dark side. I don't know if that's a metaphor for life or what, but okay, it's good. You can put more detail in if you want. I'm just going to kind of do the basics here. Grab a little bit. Grab my 1/4 inch bright again. We'll put in the feet. His feet are a really cool color. They're like this turquoisey blue. So I'm going to grab my Phthalo Blue and this mixture that I did for the beak earlier. Just a little bit of white with it, maybe a little teal mixed in, and we will put in the feet. Now I'm going to draw it out first so that I kind of know where to go. These first one are right along the front of the body. It curves around like this, and the second one kind of sets next to it. And then this one kind of comes up over, and let me get it a little closer together. There, it kind of goes off. There's another one there. Okay. Oh, actually, this one's right back here. I'm just going to tap in. And then there's black. Grab some black. And there's like these. What are those called? Talons? Claws? Tap in some black along the bottom edge there to give it some shadow. Just tapping kind of random, not trying to put too much detail in there. They're kind of not our focal point, so just putting a little bit of shadow on them. I'm going to grab some, clean it out. Grab some white and make it gray. A tiny bit of black. We'll just add a little bit of highlight. The edge of my brush, just tap in a little bit. That's all I'm doing. It's actually a bad angle there. It's angled down too much, but oh well. I'm gonna angle it in better right here. Okay, now let's grab the filbert. We'll put in our flowers. The last little flowers to finish off this area here. So we'll grab the brilliant yellow green. And I'm going to go right up over. I'm actually going to pull this direction. Pull some nice big leaves in there over the top of him. Clean that out. Grab some of the Cadmium Orange, a little bit of white, and we'll do a nice big some right there. Need a little bit more white in there so that it covers that green better. We're going to need a couple coats, so don't worry about it too much if it doesn't cover very well at this point. And as it gets down to the bottom, it's picking up a little bit of, it's got some pink, so I'm going to do a little bit of pink down here. Grabbing a little Quinacridone Magenta. Doing some of that. Okay, we'll let that set. We'll put a little bit more of the brighter orange in there once that dries. I'm gonna go back and finish these eyes because they're creeping me out. Grab some Phthalo Blue, a tiny bit of white, and a little bit of the black. We're going to make kind of a light blue-gray color. Pretty dark still. My photograph, you couldn't really see his pupils very well, but you could kind of barely see them. So we're going to put a little bit of this color around the outside of the eye. Like that. If you can see that. There you go. Grab a little bit more of the black. Make sure that's nice and dark where I want it. Clean that out. Now I'm going to grab, I've got this 2/0 brush again, so I'm just going to tap in, dip the tip of it into the white, titanium white brush, and I'm going to do a little comma stroke and then tiny little dots over here. And that's all she wrote. Don't fuss with it too much. Okay, now he looks less menacing. I'm going to grab my longer flat. This is the 1/4 inch flat. So it's got a little bit longer bristles. And I'm going to grab some cadmium yellow medium. Go back over this area right here. A little bit on top. Go on top of that orange section. Grab my cadmium orange. Brighten that up. Look now it's going to really pop. And a little bit of the Cadmium Red Light. This is the only place I've used it in this painting, so if you want to use it, like, you could probably mix a little bit of red into your orange and not have to go out and buy this color, but I do like it. So a little bit of that right there. It's just that darker orange really brightens it up right there. A little bit more of the cadmium orange. Blend those two together. And I'm going to use that flat brush and just, again, brighten up that section of that beak. There's like light shining through that's highlighting the tip of that beak right there. Looks a little bit orangey. Okay, we're almost done. Got to put our little zigzag colors in. I want a little bit darker under here, so I'm going to grab my Ultramarine Blue and some glazing medium. Glazing medium will make it a little bit more transparent. And I'm just going to go along this bottom edge of his beak with that color. Just blend that in. I'm going to even go right over the red. Grab a little bit more glazing medium to help it blend. There we go. A little bit darker right there. Wipe my brush off and use the clean brush to soften that up and blend it in. There we go. I'm I'm going to grab some of the Cadmium Yellow Light. And I'm just going to tap it over the top of the beak in a couple of places to give it a little bit of highlight. Clean that out. And let's grab the smaller round again. And we'll make some more purple. A little bit more quinacridone. We are almost done here. How much time do we have? Now we're 30. That's actually not bad for this. It's kind of he's got a lot of colors in him, so not doing too bad.
It's because I've kept quiet.
Yeah, because you haven't been interrupting me with questions.
That's right.
Thank you, honey.
No problem.
Appreciate it. You haven't talked very much today, have you? Do you have any hashtag animal facts about toucans?
I was wondering if you were ever going to ask.
Okay, I'm mixing the Ultramarine Blue and the Quinacridone Magenta, a little bit more on the magenta side. So it's a little bit more of like a violet color. And I'm going to use the glazing medium with that. So it's slightly transparent. And I'm going to do these little teeny tiny. I'm going to start about, I don't know, about where this ends, right straight up from there. Just going to tap some little triangle shapes in his beak. Go ahead, hashtag animal facts. Go.
Well, first somebody asked, what colors would you substitute if you don't use the cadmium?
Pyrrole or Pyrrole Orange is very close to Cadmium Red Light. So I use that as a substitute. Yellow, hands of yellows. There's a hands of yellow light and hands of yellow medium that work great too. So yeah, I should have thought of that on Earth Day, you know, because people don't like the cadmium sometimes. So as long as you're not eating them, I don't think you're going to have any issues. But if you're into eating your paints, you might need to use a different kind.
You should have told me earlier.
I know. Sorry, hon. Don't eat your paint.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
just tapping these little triangular shapes are getting wider as I get closer here, but I'm trying to keep them pretty transparent so you can kind of see the other colors underneath. They're just a very light violet. What? You were having a snack earlier? So,
Well, you know, you can just tell me too late not to eat my paints. So facts, huh? Okay,
yeah.
well, one of them is that Toucan Tango.
That is not a fact.
I've always heard that it takes two to tango. So obviously Toucan Tango.
No, I did not say hashtag toucan puns.
Oh. You gotta be much more
Much
specific.
more specific.
Here.
Sorry. Okay, I'm grabbing a little bit more of the blue to darken this up a little bit as it gets over the red here. Needs a little bit more of the blue in there. Sorry, hon. Yeah. Hashtag no puns.
Okay, well, how about toucans could survive up to 20 years in the wild?
Ooh. Good go. I told you they were bad.
We'll
Blanks.
just stop right there.
Bad blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Bleep.
They're omnivores.
Yeah, I knew that. I looked it up too last night. I was like,
you didn't say facts that you didn't know.
well, that's all right. No, I'm glad.
Well, you're just bragging.
No, sorry.
Miss Know It
I
All.
won't say anything. I'm
No,
just going to
that's
let
fine.
you have yours.
No, it's fine.
Let you shine. Go.
You've
Go.
ruined
You're
it.
going to have your shine
No,
moment.
you've ruined
here. Okay. Yeah, as I get here, I'm going to angle in them a little bit more this way. No, you gave up? I'm sorry, honey. He does this. He's a passive aggressive. Can you tell?
No. I'm actually looking for something that's,
Interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
they are omnivores.
Are
They
you
eat
looking?
plants, animals, insects. Not animals, well, lizards and things like that. You've already said that their beaks are made of keratin,
Yep.
like your hair and fingernails. Oh, they have short wings, so they can't fly very far.
Oh, that's interesting. A little bit of the brighter color on there to highlight that top. Actually going to grab some of that orange, highlight along the top edge there. Okay, and now we're going to put a little highlight in the beak. Let me grab one of my brushes here that's got the longer bristles, and I'm going to make a light pink with the quinacridone and white. We're going to highlight right along the top of that beak right there. It's going to go right over the top of the... There we go. A little bit more white there. There we go. Okay. A little bit of white with that beak color. That light blue-green color that we mixed. Mix a little bit brighter white with it. We'll use it at the top of this part here. Grab some teal. Grab some cadmium yellow light. Kind of just blending these together as I go. One thing I've noticed is that they're really hard to see against the greenery. Even the photograph that you can see the beak really blends well in its environment. So I'm sure that that's a strategy for, okay, I've got white here. Hiding and that kind of thing, you know, hiding in plain sight. Okay, there we go. I still feel like that's a little bit...
Toucans also have a really good cereal.
They do. Fruit Loops?
Yes, you know it's very popular.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, the Rainbow Billed Toucan is the national bird of Belize.
Ooh. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's Belize is where my Cabana sunset painting from last year. I did a painting from a picture that my brother took in Belize on the ocean there. Okay, this is Phthalo Green and and white here. I'm fiddling now. Sorry, honey. I know I promised I said I wasn't going to do this, but just trying to get it just right. That's better. Okay. Oh, we need to do a little bit more on the orange down here, and I think we're done. Yeah, it was a beautiful picture. It was like cabanas in the water and sunset over the ocean, so that was Belize. He likes to go snorkeling and scuba diving. Just more power to him. Okay, I am going to grabbing a little bit more of the orange. I'm going to grab a little bit of white and maybe a little cad yellow to brighten it up, and we'll do brighter. There we go. Cover a little bit better. Oops, I'm off camera there, hon.
Thanks for letting me know.
Grabbing a little bit of black. The tips of these have a little bit of black details, so I just mixed a little bit of it with the orange there. Some of the orange. Oh. Bright orange. I think I probably need another one in there. I'm going to do another one right in the middle. Right there. Give it some more yellow here so it'll stand out a little bit. There we go. Grab some of the Quinacridone Magenta, a little bit of white. Add a few little streaks of that in there. All right, I think we're good, honey. What do you think? Oh, there was some more over here. I forgot. Grab a little orange too. Quinacridone Magenta and orange. Well, I almost forgot this little flower that I did over here. Grabbed a little bit of white there to soften it up a little bit. Okay, let me zoom out. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, there we go. I think we're finished. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. We've really enjoyed bringing it to you today. As usual, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to hear from you. If you do this project, you can share it with me on my Thankful Art page on Facebook or my Angelooney page that I share with Cinnamon Cooney. Links are down in the description of this video. And I'm going to really quickly, lightly wipe off my chalk line so you can see it without the chalk. We really appreciate you guys. If you want the traceable to that, the link is down in the description for my Patreon page. And we thank all of our Patreon supporters who've been so generous with them for us to be able to do these shows. We really appreciate it. So we will see you next time. Thanks so much, and we will be back Tuesday night for another painting. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but it'll be fun. Thanks, guys. Bye.